Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Um, we'd like to take the time to welcome you. My name is Brian Alonso. I am co-founder of Built Story.
And I'm Alexina Alonso. I'm also co-founder of Built Story.
So thank you all for joining us. We've had a great response today. There's many of you on this webinar, so we thank you. And we'd like to introduce you Built Story and walk you through building and publishing of tours to keep your tour business moving, and even in these very challenging times.
But before we move into details, we want to acknowledge, like Brian just said, the incredibly challenging times that we are in. This has been a very heavy and heartbreaking time in America, and unfortunately, this is not new for so many people. We want everyone to know that we stand in support of our Black friends. We stand in support of the Black community. We stand in solidarity with you.
Built Story's mission is connecting people in place. We hope that the sharing of stories, of explaining and understanding neighborhoods from the perspective of the voices who live there, will lead to learning and listening. We hope that from learning can come empathy and understanding.
So building these tours, yes, you can earn money this way, and that's wonderful, but it's so much more than that. With you all, adding your stories and your voices to Built Story, it's about sharing experiences, it's about sharing stories from the perspective of the people who live in the neighborhoods that are being discussed.
We also know that COVID-19 has caused serious disruption to businesses and schools and almost everyone's way of life. Built Story is a contactless, accessible tool for sharing stories in the form of self-guided tours so that people can still explore and learn safely.
We know that, as Brian was just saying, COVID has heavily impacted so much travel, right? But we want to remind everybody that your locals, where they're still allowed, are still a very captive audience for your tours. There's so much to explore in our own backyards that we haven't seen a fresh way of looking at things. So providing locals with your tours is a really great alternative right now while we wait for travel to come back. And because Built Story tours are all self-guided, they're contactless, which means that tour takers can still socially distance while exploring their own neighborhoods.
So just a quick overview of what we are going to cover on this webinar today. We're going to focus on what is Built Story. We're going to give an app demonstration and what it's like to take a tour. And then we're going to walk through what it was to create that exact same tour that you took. And then we're going to talk about our early adopter program and then allow some time for Q&A at the end. Our goal here is to keep this to 30 minutes and allow for about 15 minutes of Q&A at the end. So what is Built Story? Built Story is a marketplace for self-guided tours. Marketplace meaning we are connecting tour takers and tour creators. And some people have described it like Uber for tours, where you're connecting drivers and passengers. And so we are the first platform, and what makes our product unique in terms of digital tours is that we are a platform that delivers self-guided tours and makes the creation of the tours in a very user-friendly, low-tech environment so that you don't need to invest in technology in order to create that digital experience that we all are looking for right now, so that tours are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, taken on your smartphone. And our platform, we are the technology, you are the content. We do not create any of the tours ourselves. You all are the content creators. You're the voices that we want to hear. You are the storytellers that we are looking for, whether it is cultural, whether it is historical, and those who know their communities the best, who want to tell that story to other people in that same environment. With that, I will begin with an app demonstration and what it looks like to take a tour. And I'll talk over this as the video is playing. So here's what your mobile phone, you would download our app either on Android or Apple. And once the app is installed, you would click on it. And
this is the tour taker side.
This is the tour taker
This
side.
is the person taking the tour.
And it'll take you in and it'll show you all the tours available in your area. At this point, I'm just going to jump out real quick and log in. Logging in is just simply email and a password, or Google and Facebook quick logins if you have that and are willing to do it. And then it will show you the tours available in your area. So you could see these are all the tours available in this particular area. They're all $10. And then you can also further filter by mobility, age, and categories. I'll go through those a little more in depth later. I know that was fast. And if you see a tour that's of interest to you, you can click on it. It'll show you what that route would look like. It'll say who made the tour. It'll give a brief description, and it'll give the first couple stops of that tour. It'll offer any reviews if there have been any, and give some stats on what kind of tour it would be. The purchases are done in-app and done right there. In this case, it didn't recognize our facial ID, so we did the old-fashioned password, and it will go through and authorize this through Apple Pay.
If using an Apple iPhone.
And then you're all set, and you'll jump in, and it'll take your current location and draw a line to the first stop. And in this case, and it'll also adaptive, whether it's a car, bike, or walking, it will adapt the directions appropriately for you. And in this case, we walk along. I fast forward it there a little bit, and it'll guide you to your first stop. Once you reach your first stop, you will find pictures, text. It could be audio, it could be video, and also there's a journal feature here. And so when you visit that stop, you can journal about it and give your own interpretation and your own memory of what that was there. And you can take a picture to remind yourself of where you were when you were there. And we'll talk about the journal a little bit more later.
Yeah, we think it's a really neat, interesting aspect to the app.
So you journal about it. And then when you're done, you would hit next at the bottom and you would go to the next stop. And it'll draw a line from your current location to the next stop, which in this case would be stop 2, which is another mural. And again, it'll give you text, video, audio, or pictures, whichever one the storyteller chose to use to tell their story of what it was when they were there. And right now we're traveling to that second stop.
And just a quick note while we wait to get to the second stop. The journal feature is interesting. Oh, here, I'll let you jump in and finish.
So, and in this case, we did stop 2. You could hit next and go to stop 3. You can skip over and go to stop 4. If you choose, you want to skip a stop, it'll always adapt from your current location, or you can go backwards. Once you've gotten all the content, then there's ability to, everybody who completes a tour has the ability to rate that tour and pass it along a review to the next person. And all the tours after purchase are available for 30 days and can be taken multiple times on that device for 30 days.
Yeah, and we think it's great that your clients or your tour takers or customers can pause the tour without losing it and having to buy it again, right? So like if they see, you know, when COVID is less of a struggle, if they see a great coffee shop or a great bar or something like, or a great park, and they want to stop along the way as they're taking your tour, the ability to stop the tour, come back, for 30 days, we think gives a lot of flexibility.
So the next thing I'd like to go through real quick is the that journal feature that I spoke about. There's the journal button at the bottom, and you can see where your all the collection of all the journal entries that you have made along the way. And this goes all the way back to when you first started using the app. There's no time limit on the journal entries. And you can see a log of that trip or all your trips. And then you can share those journal entries out to social media. And in this case, we're going to pick Facebook, and you can share that journal entry out and have that meaningful interaction with your friends and share that memory of where you were there and continue to tell that story. In this case, we didn't actually commit to doing it in Facebook. You can also edit your entries there. And then that journal will always stay visible to you on the mobile app or our desktop
Yeah,
site.
so like what Brian was just saying, for the person who's taking the tour, this journal can remain completely private to them. Like maybe they want to remember what they did that day, or make note if they are traveling when that comes back. Maybe they want to, be able to go back and reference it months, years later, like what did I do when I visited the city? Or again, like what Brian just showed, the great thing is they can also take a selfie or take a great photo and share that out to social media, which for you as the tour taker is a really special point, because then all of their friends can see. So it becomes like an extra advertisement for your tours that you've created. So your tours can go viral in this way.
And then this is a, let me pause this. Thank you. That was the part on what it is to take a tour on our app and what a digitally guided tour is. Our tours are meant to be done in the field. They're not intended to be done virtually where you're at home. Although one could choose to do that, and the direction feature and the map feature, they could just skip to each of the stops. And it does give that flexibility to do that. However, our tours are intended to be in the field and giving you directions to each of those stops. Now you saw what it is, the delivery of an app, and what a tour taker is. And we want to show you how easy it is to create these tours, that same tour that you just took, how it was to create that. So let me go back to our presentation. And once you've registered in on our website, tours are created on our website. They are not created on the mobile app. They're only taken on the mobile app. Once you've registered on our website for the mobile app, you get a dashboard that will show you some various information I'll walk through in a little bit. But the main button you want to know is create a new tour. And with that, you're going to choose a title for that tour. That would be,
in this case, Murals of Downtown Durham.
Murals of Downtown Durham. Then you can select what age it might be appropriate for. Could be all ages, could be certain specific ages. You can choose whether this is a walking tour, a bicycle tour, or a car tour. In this case, it's a walking tour. And then you can choose what category of tour this is: an architecture, art and culture, children's activities, cuisine and bar, fictional storytelling, a history tour, literature tour, or special theme tour. In this case, ours is art and architecture. And then you can write a quick 300-character description of that tour. So when the person is browsing the tours that they want, this is what's going to catch their eye, along with a cover photo for that tour. And you would hit done and hit next. And now we're going to start building the stops. So I'd like to take a moment to talk that our tours are built on a series of stops. It is not one long continuous, it is one long continuous tour. However, we do not intend to have talking or narration in between stops. And ours is based on each location and tying the locations together. And often we like to describe each stop as what would be a Facebook post. So on a Facebook post, you can do a combination of pictures and text, pictures and video, or audio file. And so we have the ability to deliver all four of those, pictures, video, audio, or text. And it can be any one of those four, or it can be all four of those, whatever combination that the storyteller thinks is appropriate to do.
And your text can certainly be longer than what you would typically see in a Facebook post, but just giving that out as a rule of thumb.
So in this case, this is going to be our first stop. And the first one is the Durham Civil Rights Mural. We're going to choose an address that mural is located at. And then we can put a 2,000 characters of text. And then you can upload as many photos as you wish. You can upload video, or you can upload audio. In this case, we're going to upload a couple photos that we have.
This is all about what you want your clients, your customers, the tour takers to experience at each stop. It's what you want to emphasize.
You're going to preview. It'll show you that stop, what it would look like, and then next. And it will do the first stop available. Then you're going to add the second stop. Try to go a little quicker here.
And so we are built on Google Maps, which Brian was saying. So any address that Google Maps recognizes, is what goes here.
Limited right now to anywhere in the United States.
Yeah.
And so we've offered that flexibility. And so here we're going to add some more photos.
There we go, another preview.
And you'll see that the map starts building the tour. We're going to add a third stop here.
Another title, the address, and whatever text and other media that you want to add. And also, after this is done, Brian will also show how easy it is to edit tours if you find you need to go back and make a change. And you can add, pictures and videos of things that maybe your client might not notice right away.
And our last stop.
We've been talking for a walking tour. We've been finding that keeping stops, close to a block apart is really a great rule of thumb to keep your audiences engaged, not walking too far. Driving and biking is different.
So that's the 4 stops on this tour. I'd like to mention also that you can do up to 30 stops. There is no limit. However, whatever it is to develop that narrative, the stops can be rearranged. And when it's all done, it'll show you what that is going to look like. You can also go back and edit certain stops if you choose. And also when you're totally done, you can also go back and edit your tour through your portal.
Yeah, even after it's been published.
And so now you get a preview of what that tour is going to look like. And then you're going to hit publish. And upon hitting publish, it is submitted to us for review. It is submitted to us for review. And within 24 hours, we will make sure that it is an acceptable tour, the content is appropriate, and it's something worthy of
Sharing.
sharing. And so we will get that back within 24 to 48 hours and make sure that we have that quality tours available to our tour takers. At this time, we've got close to 100 tours already created in our app, and we look forward to having more. Want to show you also on the what it is available on the tour creator dashboard that you can see here, see what your recent sales were, recent payouts. You can click on your tours and see what the status of your tours. You can turn certain tours on or off, or you can edit your tours. You can see some of your sales history, your payouts. And then here on your public profile is what you appear to the public when you're selling your tours. You can change a photo, you can do background photos, you can associate a website if you have one. You can write a description about yourself and link any social media to what you have. And it gives you the opportunity to do all that. On the business information part, this is, we work with Stripe. Stripe is like a competitor to PayPal, is the largest payment processor out there. They are the ones that maintain all of everybody's financial information in the industry highest standard, and we do not have any access to that. And so since we have a financial obligation to share the revenue of these tours, we do that. My apologies here, the video is carrying along, but you can also see on the creator side, there's also ability to see tours that you've purchased. You can access your journal, you can modify your payment methods and go through these on the tour taker dashboard or the tour creator. Here you could see we had, you can have that same journal that we had before and also be able to go through that. And we have that.
And just to add on to what you were just saying, he showed us a shot of your tour, your public profile, and you'll see in there that you can share your website, your personal or business website, your Facebook, your Twitter, your Instagram, so that if you choose to make those public, it is also a way for you to share, you know, like, hey, we have these wonderful self-guided tours through Build Story, but look, I have this other tour guide business. I have also an in-person tour guide business, and you can share, you know, and link out and keep everything synergized.
So now let's talk about what our business model is. Like I spoke in the beginning, we are a marketplace. Our product is unique in that way. And so if you want to talk about
Sure.
how much.
Yes, do you want to do the screen share? So yeah, as you probably have seen by now, so first of all, it is always free to register as a tour creator, to register as a tour taker. It's always free to publish tours. It's always free to create tours, to edit. All of the putting of a tour on the site is always free. And then you'll see, as you've probably noticed, that all tours are posted for $10. Right now, every new person can take a tour for free, but then after that,
the first tour is free.
First tour is free. One tour is free, and then after that, every person pays $10, and then so you'll earn $4.82 each time one of your tours sell. But we wanted to point out how fast this can add up for you. So if you have, for example, one tour only on Built Story, if you have 100 people taking that one tour, you can still make $500 that month approximately. That's rounded up a tiny bit. If you have 10 tours and each tour, 100 people take 10 tours from you, you see how quickly that adds up to 5,000, all the way up to if you're emailing your list that you have these in-person tours, if it's on your social media, and we will also be promoting, if your 10 tours sell 1,000 times in 1 month, look at your revenue. So we just wanted to, see, because it's at a lower price point, more people, it's accessible to more people. So your volume of folks taking tours are higher. Also it's not, these tours are self-guided, so they can take it at your customers, your clients can take it at any time of the day. So it's not limited to, meeting you at 3 p.m. for a walking tour. So that we know that your volume here is potentially higher. We know that, your in-person tours are different probably from your Build Story self-guided tours. And so for example, maybe there's a tour that you don't generally give people in person. Maybe it's just kind of like off the beaten path. It's a little bit farther away. It's just not something that you focus on. Maybe that's a great opportunity to turn that into a self-guided tour, and you can kind of just let that sit and on the side and earn passive income for you while you're focusing on other things. So, and then also, as I just earlier said, your profile page does list out all the other self-guided tours that you've created, so that, once one person takes a tour from you and realizes like how amazing it is, that same person, will want more tours from you, more Built Story tours. They'll come to trust, the content that you're giving out, and then they'll also think, well, if this is what you're providing at $10, how much better is your in-person tour? So, you just script it once and you're done.
Can you talk about the early adopter?
Yes. Okay. So we're excited to also talk to you about our early adopter program. So we are happy to offer to the first 200 registered tour guides, in addition to the 482, an extra 10% on each tour that you sell. We're happy to offer also a special badge by your display name. So kind of, if you're familiar with the Instagram platform and a lot of other platforms, but the Instagram platform has the blue check mark next to big users. We're happy to provide you with a badge, and also a 30-minute consultation with our team just to help if you need it, walk through any specific questions you might have, or talk about any of the tech and how it might work for you.
And so with that, we believe in Built Story. We believe that it can be responsible to help locals explore their neighborhoods while maintaining social distancing. We believe that it can help you keep your business humming, with new leads even. We believe that the sharing of stories can educate, it can inspire empathy and kindness. Built Story allows everyone's unique voices to be heard. Our deepest hope is that Built Story can be a bright light in each of our little corners of the world. And with that, I see that there's several questions that have been submitted. And so let's see if we can go through and answer all of them. First question is, can you pick and choose where to stop? Similar to skipping, I guess, but go somewhere entirely not next on the route. So I think that question is on the tour taker side. When one is taking a tour, it is totally the flexibility of the tour taker to do that. A route is drawn from your current location to the next stop. But if one chooses to stop and take a detour, it will allow you to get back onto it. Because everything is pre-scripted, and in the phone, it's you take it your way, you're hungry, you want to stop, potty break, weather forces you to stop, and also if you want to skip a stop, you can always go back and forth over each of these stops.
That's where we think your clients, your tour takers, having the 30-day access to it without needing to pay for it again is important. You can stop and pause as much as you need.
So question is, this person says that they want to talk about a 2-block area and go through a very dense story on a close area, and any feedback between stops. I think we've gotten the feedback on a walking tour that you want to have the stops as close together as possible, and as many on a current block is better. And if somebody goes 1 and 2 and 3 blocks without a stop, potentially it can slow things down for them a little bit. So we actually do encourage on a walking tour to make sure you have at least 1 stop.
1 block minimum.
1 stop per block.
Yeah.
So
driving and biking would be different since you're covering area faster.
a second question is regarding food tours. Food tours are a large part of the industry. And we always felt that with our video element, being able to record a chef
speaking about his restaurant, his story, could be really special for the tour taker.
And what inspired those dishes, and to be able to get that from that chef that one time, and then to have many people do it that way instead of arranging each time to have the chef meet those individuals each time. And so we do not have a food tour created yet. I was hoping we would. And so we look forward to getting more of those on there.
We do have some tours that recommend places to stop to eat.
Yes.
Which they were created pre-COVID though. So, those are on pause. But an interesting tour would be, supporting local business where you could stop and get curbside pickup safely, something like that could be interesting.
And so, and also, speaking of narratives, as our name implies, our tours are about creating that narrative and giving that immersive experience to the taker. And so if you were to search in our website for a salsa tour, this again was pre-COVID, but we had a very creative tour taker create a salsa night, which started out with drinks and tapas in certain restaurants and then ended up in a salsa club to give that immersive experience. What are our plans to market on the consumer side? So
that's a great question.
Great question.
Yeah. Well, okay. So our goal right now is to focus for a short period of time, not for a long time, for a short period of time, putting content in, especially as it is COVID right now and we are being cautious. But as soon as we get to a good enough amount, then we'll market heavily to the consumer side.
And our plans are through press releases and social media advertising is our plans on that. We also are encouraging of everybody, if you've created a tour, because you have your own landing page and you have your own ability to list each of your tours, we also would encourage each of you to distribute those out to your current audiences. And we're also hoping that the sharing on social media also continues to get our name out there and allow this marketplace to become more visible. So question is, text, video, audio, image, which is the best? That is a straight opinion. That is a style. That is whatever narrative you think as a tour creator would best be able to
serve your clients. Although we are seeing that text, at least some text, is really helpful to have just like a base at each stop. So we do recommend, it's up to you because you're the artist, but we do recommend having at least some text at each stop just to help ground people, understand where they are. You know, we've had some tours where the tour creators videoed themselves at the stops and telling their story, and that was really quite impactful, engaging. So that special doesn't have to be at every stop, but you know.
Next question is, when I create a tour, will people taking the tour be able to access the photos and audio from one stop at the next stop and later in the tour for the full 30 days? So once the tour is purchased on your phone, it is only available to you on your phone. And that tour, once it's began, can one can go between the stops and go in their own order, and whichever one that they want, and be able to access those photo and audio. Next question is, what sets you apart from a subscription as a service platform out there with some of the same features? So what we are is a revenue share.
We're not a subscription.
We are not a subscription. So for us, it is a la carte as each tour is purchased. So therefore, we want the good tours that are more popular. Those tour creators will earn more money than the tours that are not as popular and do not have as high of reviews. We also, you know, in terms of, we set the price at a $10 level. And so for us, it's a revenue share, and rather than a subscription on the user side. Are stops GPS triggered? The answer is no. That a map will show you where you are, and it can show you when you get to that stop. And so, but in advance, if somebody wants to preview the content before they get to that stop, they can do that. Or if you're a family and you're in a car and somebody else in the car wants to review the content before they get to the stop, we've made that flexible in that regard. So what you would do is the map starts and shows you where you are, but you can always pull the content up from the bottom at any point that you wish. Are competitors limited in a specific area? The answer is no, not at this time. At this time, we are encouraging as much content as possible, and trying to get allow reviews and star ratings and popularity to drive which tours are purchased and which aren't. We do have the ability at any time to take a tour down, and if somebody is being abusive, and if there's something not healthy happening.
Yeah, or if they're in a violation.
If they're in violation.
We can take tours down.
We have a direct email at concerns@builtstory.com, and we also have a way on our website to contact us directly, and any conflicts or issues can be resolved swiftly and appropriately. Can customers book directly on our website? The answer is no, not at this time. All tours must be purchased
through the app,
through our own app, and are using our website, using our app only. Purchases only on the app. They are not done on our website.
Yeah, we have Apple app and also Google Android.
Can I create tours outside the United States? Very exciting for us in that we built this product on Google Maps using Google Directions, Google Places. And so at this time, we've limited it to the United States. However, very shortly, we are going to be opening up beyond the United States.
So look out for
look out for
news from us.
Yes. How many megabytes is the app? Actually, I'm not exactly sure, but I recall it to be quite small. I think it was like 11 megabytes, or anywhere from 10 to 20 megabytes was the app. I'm not exactly sure. I believe that those statistics are on the Apple App Store or the Google Play, which can be found, link to those can be found directly on our website, and you can link out there.
It says, based on the existing 100 first tour guides on the platform, do you have a general idea of what are the key factors that make a tour successful sales-wise? Yes, we definitely have gotten feedback that having, if it's a walking tour, keeping the stops very close together so that they're hearing or listening to you, once a block. We've gotten that videos are quite engaging and impactful and helpful for the tour creator. For the tour taker. The next question is, can you provide audio accompaniment? I mean, you can upload audio.
Upload audio, but it would only be available at each of those stops. And in between the stops, we think from a safety standpoint, mobility standpoint, it would be focusing on directions and getting to that stop. And so at this time, the way we have it set up is all the content is delivered when you're at those stops, or if you choose earlier to pull that up, we do have that flexibility, but everything is centered around the stops. Content, the current content on the site.
You can see if you look, it's also important for everyone here to know, every tour that you create and publish has your name listed. So the question is, who's created the content so far? If you just look at the tours that we do have, you'll see their name or their business name, and then you can click on that and see a little bit of their bio, etc.
And they've been key people, early adopters that we've reached out to and had conversations with early on.
Some are book authors, some are historians.
The issue is there was an app called Detour many years ago that they had issues with GPS, and are we having GPS issues? So like all tech, especially new tech, there always is some glitches, and even in some of the biggest tech, there always is glitches from Microsoft and Facebook and on down. And so we have a development team that has been working to address as many issues as fast and quickly as possible. And in order to make this as robust as possible, like I said, we built this on Google Maps using Google Directions and using the native components within your phone, which has come a long way in the last couple years. So, so we have a level of comfort that this is working appropriately.
So your clients will have a seamless experience.
Is it possible to combine walking and driving? And yes, we have seen this before. Unfortunately, the way that we've done the filters is we've made it binary that or three options. It must be labeled as a walking tour, driving tour, or bicycle tour. Bicycle can also be a Segway, but it must be chosen as one of those, and the directions are adaptive based on that mode of transport. If somebody wanted to get clever and try to, between stops, put in some very clear text that says, now is a time where you must get on a bike or you must call an Uber to get from here to there, and do something creative between stops. We have not seen that yet, but it is something that's
Yeah, have been talking to some of our tour guides about labeling it, as a driving tour because it's mostly driving in his case. But at stop, 10, saying now's a great time to park here, and like outlining a great spot to park. You can get out and walk the next stops to 13, 14, 11, 12, and 13, and then making that a loop back to where the car is, and then continuing on.
Question is, can we partner with businesses to maybe offer a coupon? We are exploring a coupon method in the early development of that. And so not at this time is the short answer. The longer answer is we are working on it and would like to implement that to get as much integration and collaboration with our partners as fast as possible.
Especially at a time where local business is looking for more engagement with the community.
Can tour creators consider other products to offer for sale other than tours on the Built Story site? The answer is no. Right now we are just very, very focused on tours. We think really tours are the best way to connect with a community and get to know the stories around you. And so we've just been very focused on getting that core product polished and robust. And we look forward to having as many additional features as possible. The journaling was one of the first that we did, and the sharing out to social media. And so we look forward to potentially doing other things and seeing where it evolves and what demand we're getting from our clients. But at this time, it is very specific to that.
Will you have multiple languages feature in the future? So actually at this time, if you specifically search Miami tours, you'll see that there are a couple of tours. One's in English, and the other one is clearly labeled that it's in Spanish. So like the quick answer is you can type, you can enter the text that you enter in, the audio that you record can be in any language. So we don't have a translation feature per se, right, at this time, but you can go ahead and enter whatever language that you think your clients would be best served with.
And it is something that we've considered with those filters where you can choose mode of transport and you can choose the category of tours. We have explored doing an additional filter for language and being able to label certain tours of certain language. At this time, we have not done that so.
But you can, if your tour title is in a particular language, that quickly tells somebody what language that tour is being offered in.
And with that,
if there's any more questions, feel free to ask. But we do see that we're at the end of the questions. We can hang for a couple of minutes if anybody else has any thoughts, if you want us to replay something.
Okay. What is the limit of text, et cetera, at each stop? Sorry, I missed that detail. Yes, I went through some of this stuff very fast, and a lot of this information is available on our website, but also feel free to reach out to us and happy to answer any questions.
You can email us at hello@builtstory.com, hello@builtstory.com. We'll answer anything else.
But to get to your question, the limit for each tour stop at the moment is 2,000 characters, and it's 300 for the title of the tour.
300 for the tour description.
For the tour description, and it's 2,000 for each stop. The purpose for that is we are trying to generate narratives and trying not to make this a reading an encyclopedia history tour. So we wanted to kind of make it
the story to weave throughout the stops, so not just one long story at the first stop, but to divide it between the stops going forward.
Uh, so what is our backgrounds? I am an engineer, and Alexina is a
Community engagement.
with a background in history.
Yes.
My family, we used to own a retail store that was
Single location, a really neat local retail store in a historic building.
and the majority of our clientele were tourists, and really got involved in that. And because of the history of our building, really enjoyed that storytelling to our customers, and telling them. And our building was not a monument. It wasn't the largest of historical properties in the area, but it had a really interesting story. So what the purpose of the app is to get to the off the beaten path and the unknown. The large monuments will always have your traditional kind of tours when COVID-19 is over. And the most awareness are to your larger properties. And so the genesis of a lot of this is to get to those hidden stories and those off the beaten path stories, and being able to place tours into areas that a tour normally wouldn't go to, just based on attendance or logistics and things like that. So we're really trying to get to the unknown, and get to the off the beaten path kind of thing. A lot of that came from our backgrounds.
We could also add that Brian was also heavily involved with historic preservation in South Florida. So he has, we both have the passion for history and the importance of remembering the stories and knowing the stories of the neighborhoods around.
Do you have images on your website of what the customer dashboard looks like? I believe we do.
Yeah, just go to the tour creator site.
And it's also important to mention
that
registration on our product is a two-part registration. So first, everybody, just with an email and a password, it's that simple, becomes a tour taker. And that's I believe that's what you're referring to as the customer dashboard. Everybody could be a tour taker, and gets to see that dashboard with a simple email and a password. There's a second process to that, to be able to register to create tours. And at that point, we have a financial obligation to share the revenue. Like I said, using Stripe is what we have. And so that process is asks a lot more very secure questions, asks for financial information, asks for either social security number or tax ID. And that after that point, you get to the tour creator dashboard. And then that's where you would go and create the tours. So I believe those images are on our website. But the individual asked this, I see your name there, and happy to email you directly offline. If you want to get started in a few months, there is no time limit. There is no
just go in and register.
Just go and register. We do have our early adopter program, which you might miss out on. That is
a chance to earn extra money on each tour that you sell. It's a chance to have that badge that adds legitimacy to your name and trust. So we do recommend at least even just registering now so that you can be part of the early adopter program. But yeah, you can sign up whenever you want to. And all you would do is go to builtstory.com. There's a link at the top to say register, and you just follow the steps.
And also, I remind you that there's no fees to register. There's no fee to register. There's no fee to create a tour. And also, tours can be edited as well. So there's even if it's not the perfect tour, you
can always go back and change it later.
You can always go back and change it later.
You can put tours on pause.
As long as the basic tour meets our criteria, and is something, there's also ability to go back. So there's we wouldn't encourage you to wait. And I'm registering on your site now. If you have multiple websites, you're registering and you have multiple websites, I would say just pick one. Pick one you think would be the primary, whichever one you would be most visible. And I would stick with that one. And if you have any issues, please contact us directly, and we're happy to walk you through it and make sure that you register successfully.
Yeah, actually, that's an interesting question. And she's
Repeat the question.
sure. She said, can we include short rides on public transit to get tour goers around the downtown area easier? Yes, definitely. We've talked to people about that before. Now, it still goes, it's at this time when you are creating your tour in the system, it's still going to have you choose walking or biking or a driving tour, right? So you would just put that clearly in the tour description that this is primarily a driving tour, a walking tour, for example, but we do encourage you to get onto a public transit at, at stop 1 or stop 15, so you could just explain that. But I think as I enjoy travel and I enjoy exploring cities, like I would enjoy getting onto public transit or a trolley in between stops. So certainly it's up to you how you want your clients, your tour takers to experience your tour.
Anything additional? So with that, I will conclude. And thank you all for taking the time to do this evening. We really look forward to working with each of you. Feel free to reach out to us, contact us. We really think that we are offering something that is really exciting.
To help ease the stress of COVID, where it's safe to be out or walking. We hope to give a voice to the people who actually live in these communities to help, amplify their message without any charge on their end.
And so the best way to contact us would be hello@builtstory.com. And we are available with telephone, and we can happy to call you back. If you think that might be easier, we can do Zoom, but just initiate it with an email. There's a contact us on our website, and happy to initiate whatever you want. And there is a chat bot also on our website, although oftentimes it can get quite busy and there can be a delay in it. So we would encourage you to email us, and we will get back to you.
Which is hello@builtstory.com.
So with that, everybody have a good evening.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for taking an hour out of your night to join us.